Separation is an illusion. Everything is connected. So imagine that there's two trains, and both trains will take you all the way around the world. And one side is love, and the other side is fear. Now, you can get anywhere you want to, like I said. And in case you on the train, the things that you'll probably see is rude, inconsiderate, and disrespectful people. And then on the love side, when you get off on those stops, you'll probably see people with manners, respect, and discipline. So that's just how bridging the separation is collusion. Everything is connected. You can get anywhere you want to, and the train is a train of thought. So dang it. I should have started on the page I was going to start on. So I came back from I came back to Kentucky from Cali with a few things: glasses, spread the peace, CLM, trade skill, and a smartphone. My goal was to bring glasses back in 2013, and surprise, surprise, they back. Spread the peace was a movement that we did, and CLM was a movement that I was ingratiated in, or I was blessed to be a part of when I was in San Francisco. They treated me like a local. Trade skill was culinary arts. Came back, and what I learned was school taught me how to cook. It didn't teach me how to work. So I learned a lot more outside of school than I did in school. And the smartphone. In 2013, I got a smartphone for the first time, and I got a Pandora station, and I didn't know what the Play Store was, so I was asking people how to get the game Clash of Clans, and it was like, it's in your app store. And I was, like I said, that's just how green I was in 2013 in San Francisco. But I found groups like Eagles, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Matchbox 20, the Goo Goo Dolls. And when I got back to Kentucky, I got a job at Denny's. I was working third shift, dealing with the drunk after the club clientele. I learned a lot. Then I got a job at the Hilton downtown. A lot of events, corporate, wedding, basketball games, concert, Keeneland, convention center, the works. This is my first job for a year. I started in May or April. I plan to go back to Cali for 420 for a week to search for some apartments in 2015. That didn't happen. The same day I was gonna get my plane ticket for Cali, I had to buy my group camping pass for Bonnaroo. My best friend just got back from Buku with the group from town. I asked him who was he with. He said Schumann, Kat, Blake, Piers, Black China. I was like, why does she gotta be Black China? You can't say China with the braids, full lips, and a big butt. I can get the picture, but you could have used tons of words to describe her character, like kind, compassionate, fun to be around, cool. Say words like she was rude, really arrogant, talked a lot, was an asshole. Then he stopped me and was like, dude, that's what she called herself, Black China. I was like, oh, okay, but you get my point, though. He said, yes and no, still not on my side, on the fence. It wasn't 2 days later, he came back to me and he thanked me and was like, dude, I didn't know how much I used the word until you stopped and snapped me back into reality. I told him about Martin's dream. Matthew was his name, was master engineer in three different engineering degrees. He had a mechanical engineering, a civil engineering, and electrical engineering degree, already a master, and he was working on his PhD. I think it was in mechanical, but he wasn't an intelligent person. He was smart. He was intelligent enough to use broader vocabulary to describe people, and especially on the college campus. Matthew was from France, and I was the first person that he ever met in the United States, ever. And we both started college in 2009, 2010. He was the person that gave me To Pimp a Butterfly, Matthew from France. I didn't get it at first. Working at the Hilton in Blazer, the food court, student centers, not the student center, but more like a buffet style. While working at the Hilton after an event, the food and beverage director pulls me aside with my shift lead, sous chef. He says, "We can't have music saying nigger on the line," and then walks off. I go to HR the next day, tell them what happened. Tim says, "LT, do you think it was an accident?" I said, "No, he grew up in the 80s. He knows NWA, meaning niggas with attitude." Tim says, what do you desire to happen?" I said, "An apology." "Okay, Ken." Next time I see him, he apologizes. And this is a huge moment for me, especially about to go into Bonnaroo, but also leaving San Francisco, and the same thing happening in Ocean Beach. So this is where I'm gonna talk about Kendrick using the Matrix a lot, and in case you know where the songs came from, put the song title in the comments. I'll leave recorded in a Morpheus, the Matrix in my mind. I climax where you begin, and then I end on cloud 9. Damn, I'm in the Matrix. Mine is living on cloud 9, and this 9 is never on vacation. So you get cloud 9 back to back. Because when the whole world see you as Pac reincarnated, enough pressure to make you just open the book of David and pray to God that you make it or live your life in the Matrix. My DNA not for imitation, your DNA an abomination. This how it is when you in the Matrix, dodging bullets, reaping what you sow. But when you're the only king, you're the only one in the Matrix. And like I said, in case you know where those bars came from, put the name of the song in the description. Oh no. So I get a new chef, and one day he makes his way. Hold on, let me see if we're still recording. Oh yeah, we're still recording at 8 minutes. Hey. Okay. So I get a new sous chef in. One day he makes his way to my station, and he bursts out while I was talking to the dishwasher, said, "How come black people can say the N-word and they said nigger and white people can't?" This guy was in their 60s. I explained to him, I'm just one person and I can't speak for a group of people. I also tell him that I don't mind people saying it. I let my homies say it. To me, when you have a penis, that means you're a nigga. And when you have a vagina, that means you're a bitch. And for me, it stems from the 70s when people used to say pimps and hoes. And before that, they said guys and dolls. And before that, I'm pretty sure they said ladies and gentlemen. So I finished with, it started from Negus, Negus, which means African king royalty, black emperor. The Spanish took the word and said Negro when they was here in the States. The Americans took the Negro and made nigger. And we made nigga. It all started with Negus. Most people just forgot or ignored it. When they call you an N-word, they're really calling you a king. So, I go to Bonnaroo. I meet Lucy at KDOT show. My mission of peace is amplified by 1,000. And I went running for answers. And I went and retraced my steps on what they never taught me. And doing that, back into the fire again, recreating that character. I went to YouTube University and this was Netflix before, you know, they started doing ads and all the when it was still free. These are some things that helped me. Immediately, I tell you, I looked up Illuminati first, which really sent me into deep depression, the rabbit hole down there with the J.P. Morgans, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Carnegies, and the reptilians, the Anunnaki, and the Greys, the shapeshifters. This is all 2015, 16. Like I said, after I see Kendrick Lamar at Bonnaroo in 2015 and listened to it fully, I went to Matthew and was like, dude, he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, the To Pimp a Butterfly. He was like, I know. I was like, dude. He was like, I know. I'm like, I didn't know how much I used it until the whole Niggas. I didn't even know that whole history until I listened to the album fully. And so I looked at Illuminati first, then I went into Christ consciousness. In case you haven't heard of that, you might want to check that out. Then I looked up what is consciousness. I got into energy science. My friend, I've known since elementary school, asked me, in case I can get the whole world to be peaceful, but I had to tell them a lie, would I tell them the lie? And I was like, the whole world gets to be peaceful? And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I tell him the lie. And then he was like, all right, look up Kemet. And when I left his house, it got to the car, which wasn't that far. It hit me. I was like, that's not me. I would rather people be peaceful because they choose to, not because I had lied to them and got them to be peaceful because of the lie. So I looked at Kemet, and some of the first people that really I saw was Infinite Waters, which is on YouTube. And Infinite Waters had the 4 states of being, and the state of being is a state of mind. So the Matrix is a prison for the mind, and it's all about control. So in case you put mind and control together, it's all about mind control. And Infinite Waters broke down the 4 states of being. One is the first level is the victim, the second level is the responsible one, and then the third level is the alchemist, and the fourth level is the wizard. And that'll all come back because it's in my book. Mfudishi, Jehudimus, he taught me that I was upside down, inside out, and backwards. And leaving Bonnaroo, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know who I was. So that was the main reason I was running for answers, because I think it was Mfudishi taught me that 2 things that school doesn't teach you. 1 is how to be yourself, and 2, how to love yourself. So again, I was retracing my steps on what they never taught me, which was I was looking for love, and the same thing Kendrick said. You know what I mean? I've been looking for you my whole life, and every time for the feeling I could barely describe. Where you reside, is it in woman? Is it in money or mankind? Tell me something. You got me losing my mind. You make me want to jump. Let's talk about love. So I wasn't the only one that was dealing with the dark thoughts and just finding myself and taking that journey within. And when Mfudishi said I was upside down and inside out and backwards, it was like, well, that sounds like me, because, you know what I mean? Here I am at 25 and don't even know what love is. Rock Newman, another YouTuber, Howard University, HBCU. I don't really too much care about all that, but the guests that they have on, that was where I saw Dr. Sabi. You know what I mean? And Rock Newman introduced me to Anthony Browder, Tim Wise, what's his name? Dr. Umar. Farrakhan has got a interview on there. There's a lot of stuff on Rock Newman's show. But David Icke, Santos Bonacci, You Are Creators, they got a channel. Spirit Science, a dishwasher told me in 2015 about Zeitgeist. I looked that up. The Company Man, Brave New World, Aldous Huxley, Big Think, TED Talks, Viceland, Hip Hop International, the Ubuntu Movement, Misrepresentation, The Mask You Live In, We're Not Broke, In Search of Balance, The True Cost, Cowspiracy, What the Health, Minimalist. These are all documentaries I saw on Netflix when they came out. Even Schooled, I think. 13th, there was the LBGT Congress documentary, Silent Weapons, Quiet Wars, Agenda 21, again, David Icke, the explosion of the autoimmune epidemic by Dr. Tent, which was mind-blowing stuff. Kindness Diaries, which was a huge boost for me. The black market, and the whole motto for the black market is, when the system fails you, you create another system. Century of Self, which is on YouTube, Shade 45 on YouTube, Breakfast Club and Complex and Genius, all on YouTube. Music. To Pimp a Butterfly, The Healing Component, Dark Sky Paradise, American Corruption, Let's Get Free, RBG, Revolutionary But Gangster, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Yeezus, Trap Soul, 10 Days, Acid Rap, Coloring Book, B.O.B., Elements, and Anti. I'm wearing this Savage right now. Shout out to Rihanna, because I'm anti. And that album, they had a few songs that after I did the work, working on myself, which is the most important work, even when you don't get paid for it. After I did the work, just led me right back to how music can, connect people together, which is, again, the whole concept of To Pimp a Butterfly. Vibrations is all we have left. And one of my sous chefs thought I was depressed because I kept on saying work, and they was like, "You keep on saying that, people don't think you're depressed." I'm like, "Nah, it's actually true when you think about it. You better wake up and act like nothing's wrong. Just get ready for work." And the coloring book, Chance the Rapper said, pre-currency, post-language, anti-label, pro-famous, Broadway Joe Namath. And then they also said, I speak to God in public, I speak to God in public. He keep my rhymes and cutlass. He think the new shit jams. I think we're mutual fans. Which, like I said, that's just where I started to go for my answers. I went to God. You know what I mean? I went straight to the source. And in 2016, after doing all that work that you just heard, I created a charity. I started writing my book, and I stopped eating meat. I found love. I found myself, and I went to one concert, the Magnificent Coloring Day. I was there. That's going to be a part of that series. After putting Spread the Peace, World Peace, 3 pieces on my post, I got back from that concert, and like I said, after I quit the job at the Hilton for all the racist stuff that I had to deal with in a professional setting, which was, like I said, it's sad that I had to deal with that, but like I said, it's just my reality. And in case you want to look up anything that I've been up to since Cali, or since the start of the charity, we got a page on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All of it, Spread the Peace with 3s, no E's, Spread the Peace, World Peace. It'll take you straight to it. And like I said, this is my first time ever saying anything about it, but there's some stuff on there. And like I said, just go check it out. I would go to this dishwashing job, and when I went, there was a group of kids, probably 18, 17. Like I said, I'm around 25, and I was telling them that I'm weird and I embrace my weirdness. And they said, in my group, we say you're weird if you're normal. So as soon as they told me that, I started breaking weird down into classes, meaning you're normal, because they said you're weird if you're normal. And then the different, meaning people that do different stuff like mohawks and, paint their nails. And like I said, they're weird because they're different. They're not normal. And then there's the creepy kind of weird, which is like the John Wayne Gacy, like the stalkers and, people that do weird, creepy type stuff. You know what I mean? So just knowing, like, there's levels to it. Like, everybody's crazy. There's just, how much crazy do you got? Some people, got a little, some people got a lot. And then how much crazy do you let out in public? So in case you do stupid stuff in public, that just shows this nigga's really crazy. I would tell them every day when I come in, like, they're like, how you doing? I'm like, it's another day in paradise living a dream. And they were like, you kidding, right? You're a dishwasher. And then I would tell them that paradise isn't a destination, but a state of mind. So some people can have a horrible time in heaven, and some people have a great time in hell. And me, I'm going to choose to have a great time anywhere I go now, because now that it's over, I'll never be sober. I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? There was a lot to unpack when, you find out you got lied to by, everybody that you thought you loved. But like I said, when you didn't even love yourself, how can you say you loved somebody else? And I didn't get a job again until I started working at 2017 for UK Catering. And I was working with Gerard, who hired me, Derek, and Taylor, and me for the entire campus. So it was just 4 people in the catering, and they would tell me to do 8 food boards, and then I would do them, and then they would tell me I need 5 more. So one day I spent 8 hours making sandwiches, and I was mad. Gerard looked at me and said, "You get paid by the hour." And from ever since then, that was my motto. Why complain? You get paid by the hour. It doesn't matter. You've done worse stuff than this. It was here everybody was scared of Trump, saying that that's not my president. He's going to send us back to Africa, cut food stamps, stop Obamacare, build a wall, send people back to Mexico, blah, 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 blah. This is my first time I heard someone say that they would sell their soul for fame or money. A younger dude in the early 20s. It was the first place where I had to get direct deposit from in 2012 and 2016. I was cashing checks up until this to get paid. This is when people was calling me black, and I told them I'm not black. The first thing they said, most people, was, "What are you?" I stopped eating meat, and most people said, "What do you eat? Where do you get your protein from?" I started watching documentaries, lectures, and interviews, so I changed my perspective. Again, also my values. So at first I was on that fear train, like I said, after researching the Illuminati and all that jazz. But that's where you get the credit, insurance, and security, the money, image, and status, and money, sex, and drugs. Like this is your source energy. This is what you value. So, like I said, none of that has anything to do with God. And that's when. This is when I started moving from the left brain into the right brain, and like I said, using my book to write with my left hand, and using my right hand to write backwards. So I have to read backwards, and like I said, just coming up with new concepts and ideas, because now my values and my perspective was love, and that was what was focusing me on. My actions and my behaviors was centered around manners, respect, and discipline, and loyalty, respect, and like I said, just things that more focused centered around my soul and being balanced. Because in case you've been following, I've done some dark stuff, but like I said, now it's on the other side. And one of the main triggers was me getting robbed, and meeting Kendrick for the first time and going to his concert at Bonnaroo. And I didn't have a phone for a year, which was the only way to contact me was through Facebook, and I had to have Wi-Fi, but I was controlling the search. In 2013, I got a smartphone, and in 2016, I didn't have a phone for a year, and that's when I started realizing the electronic crack. And Alton Sterling was on YouTube that year, and it just shows you how much they've actually started controlling what you see, because people were talking about ISIS, and I knew that, Isis, was from Osiris, and Osiris was from Set. But like I said, having that perspective shift and having to go back to nature, which was one of the things that you'll see on the love train. Things will be natural, and on the fear, it's artificial. So, not valuing the artificial as much as the natural, and spending those times in the fields, like I said, rewired my brain and helped. A lot of people was talking about the clowns, and they were popping up and scaring people. And this was, like I said, one of the main reasons I mentioned John Wayne Gacy, because it was 33 years after he was sentenced to execution that they started, coming back out again, the clowns, and the movie It came out, and people started looking up, well, not start looking up, but the movie started becoming more fear-based, like the Get Out and like I said, the It and the Nun. You just pick. You can pick. You know what I mean? Like, the most box office sales probably is the most scary movies, because people are, like I said, love getting on that fear train. And the whole catalyst for this I call it a great awakening. This was another one of my great awakenings, when I stopped living by other people's experiences and started having my own. And in 2017, after I got the job at UK, I went on a run where I went to 3 festivals in 1 month. And like I said, in 2016, I only went to 1 festival, which was Magnificent Coloring Day. And in 2017, I went to Rolling Loud in May. Then I went to Bunburry in June. And then I went to Bonnaroo after that, also in June. And in March, I went to Cherub. And like I said, from not knowing where I was going, what I was doing, and who I was, in 2017, things took off. And like I said, Kendrick came out with the Hot Part 4, and I knew from then, like, it's blasphemy. How many gonna blaspheme? I prophesied on my last song, you laughed at me. But when the shit get brackin', don't you ask for me. How many leaders gonna tell you the truth after me? So when, I finally realized that I knew it all, and then when I finally went home, I didn't know shit. It was like, we've been waiting for you. And like I said, it's just great to have this this community. So in case you want to see me this year, let's meet at Bonnaroo. Separation is illusion. Everything is connected. High power.